All right, let's do this. Y'all ready?
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, lead heads. We are back with another episode of the Talking Lead podcast. This is going to be probably one of my favorite episodes that I've done so far this year in a long time, even last year that I can think of. We're going to be talking about the lever action gun, and we've got a panel of experts here that are going to join in the conversation. But before we get into that, make sure you go and listen to our last episode, which was the Talking Lead AK Corner. And we had a great episode last episode. It was Season 4, Episode 4. And if you didn't get a chance, make sure you go back and check it out. So we talked about Kalash Bash, and we had Dissident Arms on. So with the...
that wasn't me.
The competition season on the horizon, with all the 3 guns and all that. Of course, the up-and-coming AK enthusiast events are kicking off too. Kalash Bash, of course, most of those are in October. Now's the time to start planning for that because that sells out really quick. So we had the creators of Kalash Bash. We had Clay Owens on. We had... Mike Whiteside, Lan Wynn, and they talked about how they started Kalash Bash, and of course Dissident Arms with Lan and Mike talking about all the modernization and cool things that they have been doing to the AKs, the AK-12s and the AK-47s of recent. And then also joining us on that episode, we had Neil Vermillion, who is a 16-year Army vet, and he is a huge AK aficionado, and he just had a custom bullpup AK made. So we talked about his bullpup AK that he had made. The real fun episode. So if you didn't get a chance, make sure you go back and listen to that because we are giving away a Primary Arms red dot. It's like a $350 red dot that we're giving away from Primary Arms, and you have to listen to that episode to find out how you get entered to win that red dot. And I'll give you a hint because for some reason you guys are missing it. It's at the very end. You got to listen to the entire podcast. So if you get done listening and our music stops and there's still like 2 minutes left, there's more info there. Hint, hint. So go listen to that and learn what you have to do to enter to win that awesome Primary Arms red dot. I don't understand it and why people won't listen to an entire episode because there's always hidden stuff in my podcast, Pete. You know that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
We're always sneaking stuff in. We're being sneaky, so but we have fun. Mm-hmm. We have fun with our listeners. So that voice that you hear is none other than Pete Pye with the awesome manufacturer of ammo that you guys are finding so hard to get these days. It's like this past Easter, it's like finding Easter eggs.
Heck yeah.
Got to find that golden Easter egg. Defiant Munitions. Pete is a regular on the show now. We can call you a regular because this is like your 4th or 5th time on.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm at home.
Yeah. So we did like 2 episodes ago. The beginning of that show, we were talking about with Ken Allen, bullets versus architecture. And in the beginning of that episode, you had mentioned this awesome lever action rifle company that you've been working with, Mad Pig. And I pulled up some pictures there, and for you guys that watched the video, had some of the pictures up there, and I fell in love. And I was like, we've got to do a show about this. So right then and there, you got in touch with the owner of Mad Pig over there, Steve, and you set it up and you made it happen. And Steve is joining us today. So Steve, welcome in.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you taking the time to be on, and we're going to learn a lot today. And then as you and I were talking, you were like, hey, it would be great if we could get Midwest Industries on and talk about the rail because they're the ones that make this rail on this lever action that I have been making. And you got in touch with Troy at Midwest Industries, and Troy is also joining us today. So Troy, welcome in.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. And I got to admit, I've been crushing on Midwest Industries products for years now, and I've always wanted to get you guys on the show. So selfishly, I had ulterior motives of getting you on with us on this episode. So it just turned out to work out perfect.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. Hopefully it won't be my last time on here.
Well, I don't think so. We got to get you on the AK corner because you guys are doing a lot of parts and accessories for the AK-47s too.
Yeah, we got some big stuff coming up for that.
Okay, yeah. So we'll definitely have to talk about that. Get you on an episode of the AK corner.
Hey, Leadheads, Dwight Settle with Seal One. Just here to talk to you and tell you a little bit about our product. Seal One CLP Plus is a bio-based, non-toxic product. It comes in a paste, liquid, aerosol, and pre-saturated bore-specific patches called sealskins. They all do the same thing, just different methods of application. The best way to use our product is to start with a clean firearm. There's two reasons why I say that. First, you start with the Seal One CLP Plus by field stripping your firearm and covering the entire firearm inside and out, bore, barrel, everything with the Seal One CLP Plus. You'll see how easy it spreads around. You'll want to wait about 15 to 20 minutes. Then you come back and you want to wipe it all off. So you see how easy it is to put on and remove. And the second reason we say to use a clean firearm is you'll find that it's not clean. We're going to pull out more carbon that's been left behind with whatever product you've been using before. Okay, it takes about 3 cleanings. So I like to say a clean shoot, clean shoot, clean shoot, just normal usage before the Seal One CLP Plus has removed whatever product that you were using before and has seasoned the firearm. It's kind of like breaking in a cast iron skillet. And after that first cleaning, you will notice a difference. And with each successive cleaning, you will find that it gets easier and easier to clean. Seal One CLP Plus is a dry lubricant and is designed to work as such. You will find that malfunctions are virtually eliminated when used properly because the majority of all malfunctions are caused to carbon buildup. And with the Seal One CLP Plus, the carbon does not build up. Seal One CLP Plus is safe on all metals, plastics, composites, polymers, rubber, wood, and leather. Seal One CLP Plus is a one-and-done formulation. No other products are required or needed to clean and lubricate and protect your firearm. That's why we say Seal One and done. Seal One is a proud sponsor of the Talking Lead podcast and the Leadhead Brigade. Use the code LEADHEAD for a 25% off discount.
So, guys, we're going to be talking about the iconic lever action rifle today. And I thought, we could start off maybe with the history and how it kind of got started. And the lever action has been around for a long, long, long time. And I'm going to go, just to make this brief and quick, I'm going to go to Wikipedia. I know a lot of people don't like Wikipedia, but Wikipedia has a lot of good information. Some of it's been proved, some of it hasn't been proved, but this is probably like the most condensed kind of history that I could find about the lever action. So what is the lever action? It's a type of action for repeating firearms that uses a manually operated cocking handle. So anybody who's watched a Western, there's typically a lever action rifle in those. It's located around the trigger guard area. It pivots forward to move the bolt via inertial linkages, which will, I got to put my glasses on, feed and extract cartridges into and out of the chamber and cock the firing pin mechanism. So it does this all with that one stroke of that lever. And this contrasts to other types of repeating actions, such as the bolt action, which we all know how bolt action works. We know how pump action works. And then, of course, the modern-day semi-automatic. So that's kind of how, in a nutshell, and we'll get into more detail with these guys talking about it, on how the actual internals and everything work. So the history, in 1826, a lever-action revolver, so this was a pistol revolver, capable of firing 6 shots in less than 6 seconds, was produced in Italy by Cesare Rogalio and patented in 1829. So what's the math on that? How many? Almost 200 years ago we're looking at here that the lever action has been around. So the first lever action rifle on the market were likely the Colt's first and second model ring lever rifles, both cap and ball rifles, produced by patent arms manufacturer between 1837 and 1841. The ring lever was located in front, and by ring lever, it's not like the big hand lever that you're thinking of now. Is actually your index finger went in there like a ring, and that's how they were operating it then. So then a multi-lever action design, including the volcanic pistol, were designed before the Civil War. And I don't know how much you guys know about the Civil War, but I think this was probably the turning point when the Union got the lever action rifles that really turned the tides of the Civil War.
Didn't they release the Spencer right at the tail end of the Civil War? Didn't that come out with the tube feed? I know they were real rare, but
Yeah.
Weren't the levers just starting to be released during the Civil War, the tail end of the war?
Yeah, the significant designs were the Spencer repeating rifle and the Henry rifle, both created in 1860. The Spencer was a lever-operated rifle with a removable 7-round tube magazine designed by Christopher Spencer. Over 20,000 were made, and it was adopted by the United States and used during the American Civil War, which marked the first adoption of an infantry cavalry rifle with a removable magazine by any country. It says the early Spencer rifles lever only served to unlock the action and chamber a new round. The hammer had to be cocked separately after chambering it. So yeah, you're right. Way to be on your history.
Definitely
there.
makes a difference for the cavalry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to reload while you're on the back of a horse.
Right? So the Henry rifle, invented by Benjamin Tyler Henry, the gunsmith employed by Oliver Winchester, had a centrally located hammer that was cocked by the rearward movement of the bolt rather than offset hammer, typical of muzzle-loading rifles. The Henry also placed the magazine under the barrel rather than in the buttstock, a trend followed by most tube magazines ever since. And then we get into the Marlin. John Marlin, founder of Marlin Firearms in New Haven, Connecticut, introduced Marlin's first lever-action repeating rifle as a model 1881. This was chambered in rounds such as the 45-70 and the 38-55. Its successor was the 1895 solid top design, which is known as the Marlin 336 today. It also gave rise to the Marlin model 1894, which is still in production. And that's the thing about this. The design of this over 200 years ago, and it's still a very viable option today that is still in production to this day. But as we're seeing, more and more companies are starting to, I guess, improve it or modernize it. So it says, by the 1890s, lever actions had evolved into a form that would last for over a century. Both Marlin and Winchester released new model lever action rifles in 1894. The Marlin is still in production, whereas production of the Winchester 94 ceased in 2006, which I have one of those right here today. This was my dad's Winchester 94. He put down many a deer with this rifle. And that's his scope. It's an old Tasco scope. I haven't changed the scope on it or anything like that. That's his, and he used this was his sling, just a piece of leather that he fashioned, tied on the tube, magazine tube, and shoved up in the buttstock there.
That's awesome.
If it works, right?
And it worked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still deadly accurate today. I've taken it hunting a couple of times myself. So, warfare. Use in warfare. The Henry lever action was used in Civil War and were used in the U.S. until Winchester Model 1866 rifle replaced it. The Spencer repeating rifle was also used in the U.S. Civil Army. Additionally, rifles using the lever-action design were used extensively during the 1930s by irregular forces in the Spanish Civil War. Typically, these were the Winchester or Winchester copies of Spanish manufacturers. At least 9,000 Model 1895 rifles are known to have been provided by the Soviet Union in 1936 to the Spanish Republicans for use in the Spanish Civil War. Interesting. So there's some interesting facts on Wikipedia that you guys can go. They talk about the cartridges, and we're going to get into that with Pete, but they use anywhere from 22s, 30-30s, which is the one that I have, 38 Special, 357 Magnum, 44 Special, 44 Magnum, 41 Magnum, 444 Marlin, 45-70, which we're going to talk about today, 45 Colt, 320 Winchester, 35 Remington, 308 Marlin Express, 300 Savage. So it's kind of like our modern day ARs, you know. It ran the gamut of different cartridges that were used in it. There was something else that I wanted to point out. Oh, during the war, the reason that these weren't, I guess, more prolific in the Civil War was the powers that be seemed to think that it was an ammunition thing. They wanted to conserve ammunition, and they thought that with these repeating rifles that the cost was going to go like astronomically up, you know, for the ammunition. So that's why they stuck mostly to the the single shot rifles that they used during the Civil War. And their type of warfare they had, you know, just people lined up and you just pick them off one by one. That's another reason why it really wasn't adopted by the military as much as probably it should have or could have been. There are some lever action shotguns as well. Mm-hmm. The Winchester Model 1887 is a lever action shotgun designed by John Browning. He designed a lot of stuff. He was a genius. It says in 1885, at the behest of Winchester Repeating Arms Company, John Browning designed the Winchester Model 1887. The Winchester Model 1901, a strengthened version chambered for 10-gauge smokeless powder shells, was developed. There was the Winchester Model. Where's it in? There's a 410 bore. There's a Model 9410, which is effectively a Winchester Model 94 chambered for the 410 bore shotgun shells, and that was used up until 2006.
Henry still makes a 410. I don't want to call it a lever action rifle. It's a shotgun.
Yeah.
So they still make those with the 18-inch barrels and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. So a lever action 410.
Yeah, they make the Axe too. It's called. It's like one of the pistol grip shotguns.
Uh-huh.
And so no stock, just the pistol grip. They make those in 410 as well. Very
cool. So let's get to our guest. There's a little bit of history. If you guys want to learn more about that, like I said, there's sites you can go to. Wikipedia is just kind of like a starting point, and then from there you can go and research some of these other aspects and history of the lever action. But then, you know, I think really what made it iconic, and I hate to give Hollywood credit for anything, but, you know, the movies, the old Westerns that we watched, the TV shows. What was it, The Rifleman? Chuck Connors, is that the guy? The Rifleman. I mean, he's probably the most significant iconic person that used the lever action, because, you know, it was a weekly TV show, so he was on all the time on TV.
Then John Wayne with the big loop lever.
Absolutely, yeah. John Wayne, Henry Fonda, you know, Clint Eastwood even in his movies. You know, he was more known for his pistoleering and whatnot, but he used the rifles occasionally. Yeah.
Remember with John Wayne though? that's when the big loop thing got going, because he would spin the lever and cock the lever. And then they copied that back when they did Terminator 2, remember? With the shotgun.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger did it.
Yep.
It was kind of a spin. John Wayne was doing it, so.
Yeah, and kind of modern day, yeah. Did he use that mare's leg? Is that the one he was using?
No, he was using one of the...
just a sawed-off shotgun kind of deal.
It just looked like one because he's so big.
Yeah, probably.
Because Arnold is so big. But yeah, and then in today, the Westerns are coming back. Steve and I were talking about this offline, with was that the 1883 spinoff of the Yellowstone? There's a lot of lever actions being used in that. And then even before that with HBO's the Westworld.
Yeah. Well, even on Yellowstone itself, right?
That's true.
There's still saddle guns for cowboys, like in the current day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're getting a lot of attention, whereas they kind of faded out for quite a while, and now they seem to be making quite the resurgence.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of resurgence with the lever actions. Which hopefully that we'll start getting more of that ammo back, Pete, with 30-30, and I don't know about some of these other odd rounds that I read off, but
yeah, we're really trying hard to do come out with some 30-30 obviously, and then progress the line to 45 Colt, 44 Mag, 38 357. Unfortunately, I actually was just talking to Troy about this the other day. 30-30 brass is very, very hard to find, and we've had it on order for a very long time.
Well, that's kind of the case for most ammo, isn't it? Right now. Yeah. Even 4570 has been a serious challenge. Yeah.
Everything's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's really bad.
Just surviving's a challenge these days, isn't it?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding.
With our current situation that we've got going on. So let's do this. I want to start with Steve at Mad Pig, and give us a little bit about your background, your history. I know you got some military experience, so talk about that a little bit, and then how you got into doing what you're doing now with the lever actions.
Sure. So started Mad Pig in 2016, something like that. And it started out as just kind of like a side hustle doing Cerakote. I was working as a consultant at the time doing, believe it or not, I was doing pandemic preparedness for the CDC as a consultant. And back when, every fireman that would talk to you would tell you, oh, we can handle this, don't worry about it. So then all the funding dried up with that, and I ended up working for the National Guard full time, which I've been in the Guard for 16 years. I work for them full time, and I just kept going with Mad Pig. It just kept growing, and originally it was Cerakote. We did all that stuff, got certified, all that stuff. I learned the best partnership is the one that doesn't exist. So to learn that lesson twice.
So you're saying you don't really need to be certified to do Cerakote?
No. I'm saying I had business partners.
Oh, you had business partners.
In the past.
I got you.
Yeah, I had business partners. Yeah, and that didn't work. Not for me, at least. So ended up a good friend of mine, Phil, who he goes by Buffalo Diller on Instagram. He was really into Marlins, just always has been. Now, Mad Pig, we're located in Connecticut, in central Connecticut. So Marlin was here for a very long time. The old Marlin factory is about 10 minutes from my shop. I pass it every time I go to the shop. Everything was here, and he just really was into them. And he would do all sorts of fun stuff. And he started messing around with like, hey, can you Cerakote these for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. And everything kind of changed when Troy and the guys over at Midwest came out with the Handguard, the M-LOK Handguard. And we were like, oh, this is really cool. that kind of changed the game, and it brought a lot of interest out. So we started messing with that a little bit, and this was just on Phil's guns. And Phil, just to be clear, he's a gunsmith himself at a different gunsmithing shop down in southern Connecticut.
Okay.
So we just started messing around with that, and we're like, hey, I wonder what we could do. And back then, the, shall we say, demographics of lever gun owners was a little bit different. People hated what we did. They got real emotional about it. I remember I joined a 4570 group on Facebook, and I got banned in a matter of minutes without saying anything because someone recognized the company that I owned.
Oh, wow.
It was like the 4570 group on Facebook. Like, we don't want your kind here. I'm like, okay. What? Like, young people? What do you want? We got called Bubbas a lot, and I wear that as a badge of honor. I'm the only guy I know with a SBR'd high point, so whatever. They started to gain some traction, and so all the Midwest stuff started coming out, that Handguard, and we started to try to see what else can we put this on, right? So we knew it would fit on the 1895s and then the 336s, and we were like, all right, so can we get it to work on a Henry? So we did. We can kind of go into the details on that a little later, but it wasn't the kind of drop-in thing. You needed a mill, you needed to cut dovetails, like there was actual gunsmithing involved. So then we started putting muzzle brakes on them, and that kind of turned into what we became known for, which is the thumper, right?
Let me bring your screen up on them.
All right.
There we go. Yeah.
So at its core, the thumper is a 1895 Marlin, or it could be a Henry. But this one is a Marlin. And what we do is we cut the barrel down and thread it to around 14.5 inches. And then we add a muzzle brake. We were previously using the Comet muzzle brake. Now we designed and produced our own. So now we have the thumper muzzle brake here. And what we do is we cut the barrel, we permanently attach it after cut the barrel, thread it, then we put on the muzzle brake, permanently attach it, and then once we do that, we start doing more cutting. So in order to maintain the largest magazine tube capacity we can, what we did is we actually cut the dovetail for the magazine tube hanger right here. Because what a lot of other people would do is they would end up pushing it back. So you would have your magazine tube. I don't know if you can see this very well, but it would be back here, right?
Hold it up a little higher.
How's that?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted it to be as close as possible without having the exiting gases causing issues. So this actually kind of cuts into some of it just barely touches the threads a little bit, but it works out pretty well. So we started doing that, and then we kind of got known for it. I don't know, it kind of struck a chord. Around that time, Henry had they had teased their new Model X, the Henry X, that originally had it had the Midwest Handguard on it and a threaded barrel, so that you could put a suppressor on it. And that was met with just overwhelming support. And they ended up producing the Henry X. Took them like 2 years, but they ended up producing the Henry X. Slightly different. They ended up using a polymer handguard that has a Picatinny rail on the front, but it did have the factory threaded barrel. So Marlin followed suit with the Marlin Dark Series, which I always said that was like the best marketing gig ever. Like, you took a gun that you didn't have to polish. All you had to do was just black oxide the thing or parkerize it and call it good, and people wanted to pay more money for it. So that was really successful. They put their again, factory threaded barrels, black furniture. Clarify at one point, Marlin never had polymer furniture, ever. It wasn't a thing. People would see the black stocks on the Marlin Dark series, and they just assumed they were polymer or plastic.
Yeah.
No, it was just wood painted. That was it. So anyways, those became really popular. And so as that was happening, we just continued to kind of refine our product. And, we started working with, Troy and the guys over at Midwest and, some of these other companies over the years that we've started working with, like Pete over at Defiant and Chad over at Chisel that makes this cool stock, work with both Henry and Ruger.
Right.
And
so on the barrels, let me go back to the barrels.
Sure.
Originally you said that you were, you're cutting them down and then pin and welding to make it the 16 inches. Why wouldn't you just thread it at its current length and then put the muzzle brake on to give it that extra length?
Sure. So we do sometimes. It really depends on what people want.
Okay.
Predominantly, we do it for aesthetic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You're not losing enough velocity in that inch to make enough of a difference for what you're doing, in our opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and Pete can talk more to it, but, 4570 is a big, heavy bullet. Whether you have a gun that is 16 inches or the barrel comes out to 14 and a half, 15, this gun is for like 150 and under. We build brush guns, right? That's predominantly what we do these for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small carbine that is designed to be light, fast handling with an easy ability to make follow-up shots should you need to, which is where the muzzle brake comes into play. Is
that the only caliber that you're modifying?
Oh no, we do them in anything, really.
Okay.
So I've done. I should caveat that shotguns. Shotguns are different because they have different legal definitions, right? I had a guy send me 2 Henry 410 shotguns. He was like, "I want them cut down." I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Like, send me the stamp, and then I'll cut them to whatever you want. He's like, "Well, what do you mean? They're rifles." I said, "They're not rifles. They look like rifles, but those are legally shotguns, so they can only go out to 18 inches, right?" So
they have to go out to 18 inches. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to go out to 18. Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah. So
whereas 16 inches
for
on the rifle gets you this package, right? So it's kind of a byproduct of the design. Sometimes we'll get people that say, "Hey, I just want 16 inches, so we'll cut to 16 and a half. We'll pull we'll try to get the magazine tube as long as we can towards the muzzle, and then they have it threaded for just putting a suppressor on of their choice."
Do you do custom tubes, magazines?
We can, but we typically don't. I used to buy parts directly from Remington.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the Remington Marlin days. Now I'm working on that.
Well, people always want more, one more bullet. They want to be able to hold, one more, 2 more, 3 more bullets. Did you get requests for that? And is that something that you can accommodate?
It is.
Okay. Yeah. So you can do longer tubes.
There's a swaging tool because on a 4570, it's not just a straight tube, right? So this is an older one that was actually knurled at the factory. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Where am I? There we go.
Yeah.
But you see it's got this bump here. And that's so that when the round feeds in from the side, when you load it, it comes in. Otherwise, it would just get stuck. So there's a swaging tool for that we have. But anyways, so yeah, that's kind of why it's a byproduct of the design. I've had guys that say, "Hey, I want to keep 6 rounds in the tube." I'm like, "Okay, we'll do that."
Yeah.
So then they have, a much longer barrel, and a longer tube, and
we talk a lot of competition shooting on this show as well. Are you seeing people taking these and using them in competition shootings yet? Because that's going to be a thing. Because people are going to want to start racing these things.
To my knowledge, I mean, there's cowboy action shooting, but my guns would probably get someone stoned to death at a cowboy action shooting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they would be
They'd
banned.
show up and,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of traditionalists.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me do this.
So,
let me go to Troy because, and you said you started Mad Pig in 2016. Around
something like that.
Roundabout, and that was with the Cerakoting. And then what year was it that you started doing getting into the modifications there of the lever gun?
We started doing the gunsmithing more in I want to say 18, 19.
18 or 19. So Troy, when did you come out with that handguard for the lever action?
Oh man, I'd probably say 3-4 years ago. Probably maybe a year before Steve started really getting into it.
Yeah.
Put a date on it, I can't even remember at this point because we've been making them for a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah. What made you? I mean, from a business perspective, I mean, there had to have been some sort of demand for you to do that.
It was. I've always been kind of a lever guy, even though we do mainly black gun stuff, but I've always been a lever action guy. Had a 45-70. Us guys here, we were doing a lot of hunting and a lot of hog hunting at the time. And the whole nation started doing all the feral pig hunting. It was like the big for a while. I think it's still a big thing, but you don't hear as much about it. And we're going up in swamps in upper Michigan and stuff like that. The cedar swamps that are dark, real confined spaces, stuff like that. And it's like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have a light on one of these guns that we're in here hunting these big 300-pound Russian hogs?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, let's see what I can do. So I drew something up, and we ended up coming out with the first handguard, the M-LOK handguard, because that was right around the time M-LOK started. But I'll tell you what, Steve's talking about getting stoned at a cowboy shootout. My employees, because they're like, "Do you realize the amount of heat you're going to bring on us for doing this?" And I'm like, "I'm doing it." So
yeah,
it's this type of gun is either a love it or hate it. But people got to realize we didn't do this to be tactical or the tactical lever. That's not what this is about. This is about modernizing and making these guns practical for modern applications like hunting, guide guns, stuff like that, with the modernization of optics, red dots, lasers, lights, all of this stuff. It makes everyday use of these things, like practical use as a tool, a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
It extends the usability.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said it extends the usability of that platform or rifle. So it adds more use to it. It gives it a better life, I guess you could say.
Now that the guns are being factory threaded, and like Mad Pig's been threading them for suppressors for how many years now? That's all. These things are great suppressor hosts too. So, and suppressors have just went. The popularity of suppressors now is just incredible compared to what it was even 6 years ago.
I just got my latest one out of jail the other day. So I got a Stealth Project suppressor here. I'm looking forward to it.
Everything evolves, and sure, there's traditionalists and they hate what we're doing, but that's
you're going to get that with anything, though. You got that with ARs. You get it with Steve and I were talking the AK community. You've got the purist that if you change anything on that rifle, then you're going to go to Kalashnikov hell.
Oh, we got that. But remember when the military changed from wood guns, like the M14 or the M1 Garand, and then the M16 was introduced?
Yeah.
The same thing. I'm sure they got even more pushback back then, but it's the same basic thing. And we're not trying to stop any of the traditionalist guys. It's just another option and another venue for people to get into and have fun with.
Absolutely. But you made it, again, you've made that rifle more usable, just like the AK-47. Once they came out with the rails and started doing the rails, and you could put the lights and you could put the lasers and you could put the scopes and the different optics on there, I mean, look how much popularity the AK has grown over the past 10, 15 years because of that.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the modernization. And, I'm predicting the same thing is going to start happening with the lever guns. And, I think we're going to see a huge resurgence with, what you're doing with the rails, and there's no telling what else that you're going to come up with. And you probably got some things in the works already, Troy. Yeah, go ahead.
The stuff we just released now, like in the last, what is it, Steve, 6 months with the new system we came out with?
Yep.
We've actually had the sights for this system done for 2 years, basically, but with COVID and all that, the big lockdown and all that going on, and the rush on gun parts, our machines were running wide open on everything else, to where it basically stopped our research and development and production on parts that we had going already. We couldn't release anything for 2 years, basically. So now that we released these sights, and we designed these sights as a gold ring type backup sight, but with a lot of testing done with various loads of ammunition. That's kind of where Pete gets in here. Subsonic stuff for suppressors, supersonic, really screaming fast, 45-70 stuff. We made the sights for these guns now to accommodate.
Are those on your website?
Yes.
What are they under? I'm going to pull it up while you're talking. Under optics?
No, if you go to Marlin. Let me see here. I'll walk you through it. Pull it up on mine.
Yeah, so I know this by heart at this point. So if you go to the gun type and then go either by Marlin or by Henry, you'll see everything there.
Okay.
Tell them to stop there a little bit.
These are gold.
Here we
sights.
go. Got them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did a bunch of testing, it close to a year's worth of testing. We would buy all the different ammunition we could find for 45-70s, for 357s, 44, 55 long Colts, and we would go up and shoot them on the range at different distances to make sure that we could zero all these different types of ammunition and still get a zero, because you never know what the end user is going to want to do with this rifle. Are they going to want to run subsonic through it all the time? Are they going to want to run, some really hot stuff through it? Who knows, So that's where we went with that as far as the heights of the sights go.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, we put a lot of time and effort into making them so they work with the suppressed guns, or they work with anything you really want to do with them, put it that way. Yeah. So, but we're finally back into the realm of being able to get a little machine time here and there to release some of this stuff that we've been having on the, we've had in the back burner for a while.
Right. So, yeah. Things are starting to release a little bit nowadays. Well, That's good. That's good. I mean, there's your proof in the pudding right there. Even more and more parts and accessories that are starting to come out, because, obviously you're seeing a market for it, or you wouldn't have done the variety.
The first 2 years, the first year we released the Marlin M-LOK Handguard, they started moving, and I was like, wow, that's, at least I'm vindicated with my idea as far as like with toys and everything goes, so I'm not look like a total fool. But after that, the next year, that one SKU, the Marlin M-LOK Handguard, was the most popular one part number SKU that we sold that next year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
There's huge interest in lever guns, and people, the traditionalists can talk down about it all the time of what we're doing. If they weren't selling, I wouldn't be making these parts. They're selling.
Absolutely.
Steve can at the buzz for these things, and now that we've got stuff like the chisel stock and the hoplite or the Hoptic quivers, and Pete's making all this cool ammo for them, it's just going to make it go even better,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the we're talking about the ammo. The demand's going to drive that ammo, demand for that ammo as well. So as more of the levers are being sold from Mad Pig, and to be fair, there's other companies that are doing similar type things that you guys are doing. Not as well, probably. I don't know, but that ammo is going to be coming. And we talked a little bit about it in a couple episodes back, Pete. So talk about how you guys are gearing up for. And I know everybody's limited on supply right now. The way the world is.
Yeah. So with Defiant 4570, we're taking a very old cartridge and trying to modernize it as much as we can and stay inside pressure parameters and stuff, and playing with different powders and stuff. And 4570 lever guns have always been a very big interest to me. I've shot animals all over the world with them. I had a brown bear, black bear, you name it. Just been a big lever guy. And I actually a very close friend of mine came up buffalo hunting with me in South Dakota, and brought one of Steve's guns, and he's like, man, you got to check this thing out. He's like, I'm telling you, you guys need to do ammo for this, because I was like, man, I don't know if I need to, be like months before leading up to this buffalo hunt. I was like, and I want to do 4570, 3030, but I don't know if it's because I want to do it personally because of my love, or if there's enough interest for it.
You just be like Troy, man. It's like, hey, do it for myself at first.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's that?
You're either the hero or the zero in every decision you make when it's your
Yeah.
companies. Sometimes you just gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. And once I was able to see one of Steve's guns and lay eyes on it and shoot it, we shot some buffalo with it and stuff. I was like, this is a no-brainer. This is right down Defiant's, alley. And so I contacted Steve and I said, hey, man, you want to do some ammo? And he was...
Be honest, when you first saw that guy that brought that rifle, brought the Mad Pig up, what was your first impression when you saw it? Be honest.
Seriously, I thought it was the coolest thing I ever seen.
Right?
Yeah. It was awesome.
That's the reaction I had when Pete was telling me about it. And I was like, I'm going to pull this up, and we're talking about pulling it. I was like, holy shit, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, when you feel how smooth that action is and stuff, it is really incredible. But what we did for Defiant is we were working on some new powders that were right in that burn rate for 4570 and in 3030. So we started trying different powders. We were able to easily get 1900 feet per second out of the 4570 300 grain. We incorporated, and it's probably not going to show up
right there.
There we go. Show up is good, but it's got our black TPD coating on it, plating on it. And what that does is nickel plated brass is awesome and it works great, but this stuff is way more corrosion resistant. It's virtually, you can probably see it a little bit better on there. It's virtually doesn't chip or crack or flake off or anything like that. And then it's, virtually 100 times the higher. It's got a much higher lubricity rate. Scroll up. Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
So
he reached out to me, and we started talking about it. And I am not a big reloader. It's something that I'm starting to get more into. But he's talking about all these different things, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then he goes, "And then check this out." And he shows me this.
Hold on.
And I was just like,
"Let me switch."
Can you see that?
Let me switch. There we go. Yeah.
So he showed me that, and I just said, "Holy shit!"
It's like a boat propeller.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
And
that.
I've showed that to a few other people, and everyone says the same thing. The reaction's always the same. It's holy shit. It's like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
you
the
got this
spread
really-
pattern on that is wicked.
It's nuts, man. So when
Wow.
we started talking about, like, he's like, I'd like to optimize this for shorter barreled carbines, like what you build. And I was like, cool, that sounds great. Sorry not to jump on your train too much, Pete.
Oh, no, I appreciate that, Steve. And yeah, I mean, so what we essentially did is we have the Mad Pig.
Turn your blur.
Yes.
I think you got your blur screen on. Turn that off.
Okay, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, go to
You
settings.
trying to show that?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to show.
Yeah.
Steve's got it.
Yeah.
So what we did was we came up with a box, incorporated Steve's, name and logo on it. So we're doing, kind of a strategic alliance or whatever you want to call it with the ammo, built around, Steve's
Collaboration, man.
Steve-
It's called a collab.
Yeah, there you go. Collaboration, with this Thumper series and the ammo. And obviously we're going to take this, into 30-30, and all the lever gun cartridges. We're going to expand it, but in 4570, we do a 300 grain, full power and supersonic. And then you're looking at the 400 grain subsonic. We had to do a subsonic because, number one, it's just awesome. And number two, I mean, there's so many people now because of what Steve and Troy brought to the industry. People are really seeing that now. And, so they're suppressing these guns because they're, like Troy said, they're such great hosts for suppressors. They're really incredible and they're ultra quiet. So we designed a special subsonic powder for this 400, and we're getting about 1,000 feet, 1,020 right under right at subsonic velocities, and it absolutely is phenomenal. We shot buffalo with this as well. And it was absolutely incredible.
Wow.
Modern 4570 is awesome if you look at reloading it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Because that's what really got me into levers was when I did reload. I don't anymore because I just don't have time for it. But
Yeah.
the 4570 cartridge is so incredible to reload. You can reload black powder with it, smokeless powder, cast bullets, jacketed bullets. You can do just about anything. With the modern guns, I think a trapdoor is loaded at 20,000 for cup pressure.
Mm-hmm.
A Marlin, you can load to 40,000 for cup, and a Ruger number 1, you can take to 50,000 for cup pressure. It's almost at 458 Win Mag ballistics.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
this cartridge is incredible. And if you game hunt with a modern 4570, man, it steamrolls stuff.
Yeah.
I've shot countless pigs. I've shot a buffalo with 4570, and with modern loads, holy cow, it is something else. It's really cool.
What kind of
Yeah,
distance can you get out of one of those?
I wouldn't go over 150. I always try to go 100 and in. I mean, you're shooting a pretty big chunk of lead or copper down.
Yeah,
But-
it's a big old bullet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
oh, you 2,000 feet a second. That's a cannonball coming down range. Pretty, at a lot of thump. So
Yeah,
But
for
it's-
sure.
you can.
Yeah.
What's cool about it? New shooters. As far as kids, my son shot his first pig when he was 12 with a 4570, and it was just with trapdoor loads. So they're real light loads that anybody can shoot. They don't recoil real bad, and you can kind of vary your loads on what you're doing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Pete?
That's
Yeah, I would say that it's people don't realize how versatile this cartridge really is. I mean, like I said, like Troy said, we're shooting, bullet, 300 grain bullets upwards into 2,000 feet per second. But then on the other hand, we have a 400 grain, sledgehammer at subsonic velocities. There's a huge difference there. And it's just ultra versatile. You could do so much with this cartridge. And really it is the ultimate survivalist, gun. It's one of Steve's thumpers is short, compact, it's easy to handle. And, you know, for the people looking at it, like, why would I want a short gun? Well, if you ever been in, you know, real brush hunting, or hunting dangerous game, you know, when I was in Alaska, I got charged by a brown bear, and I shot him at 10 feet. You know, so when you're, you know, when you're hunting things that can hunt you, you want something that you can maneuver very quickly, and in tight places.
Well, that too,
so
and
it's great.
And you know, the weight of it, you know, is not as taxing on you, because you're usually traveling distances with it. So
yeah,
it helps with that too, the fatigue factor.
Yeah, the only other thing, you know, what I brought, you know, with the 4570 cartridges is, you know, we brought our TCX line, our total copper expanding line, so there's solid copper bullets into it to really modernize it. They are so incredibly accurate. And the cool thing is, you know, at these velocities, I can control how these bullets expand at certain velocities and stuff by designing the cuts and stuff. So they're just ultra reliable. Where like a normal cup and core bullet, like a bullet it's a lead jacketed bullet, those expand based off of pure velocity, high velocity, to get good performance out of these. So when we design our solid copper bullets, we design them to, you know, work properly at a fairly big window of lowest velocity, highest velocity. So that's what we did.
Yeah, and when I was playing with those, hunting with 4570, Pete, I was playing around with like the Hornady Xtp Bullet. And I mean, this is a long time ago. This is like before I even thought about, you know, before I even thought about making this handguard. This is a long time ago, but I can imagine how good it works now with your copper bullets. It's got to be really impressive.
Oh yeah, we're able to. Here's a 400 grain subsonic, right there, and we're able to cut some relief grease in it for expansion and to cut down on chamber pressures as well, so we can push them a little bit faster, or you know, and stuff to, you know, to be able to control pressure and in velocity. So
very neat.
Rob would tell you that failing to prepare is preparing to fail. He's not a prepper, but survival skills, personal preparedness, and self-sufficiency are important skill sets in his book. His firearm of choice, the Kel-Tec Rdb Survival, says a lot about him. This great compact bullpup rifle fits in a pack and tight spaces when he feels like bugging out. Unlike ordinary bullpups, the RDBS rifle redefines the concept of platform, offering a traditional rifle grip, balance, crisp trigger, and an adjustable buttstock. The RDB Survival delivers 5.56 ballistic performance in a compact package weighing 5 pounds 14 ounces. It has a patented downward ejection that allows for complete ambidextrous use with an intuitive safety and reversible charging handle. It's a get you there, never let you down kind of rifle. Innovation, performance, Kel-Tec.
Let's go to Steve, and there are other things that you're doing to these rifles. You're not just, you know, slapping these handguards on there and throwing a nice Cerakote. Talk about the other mods that you're doing to the lever actions for the Mad Pigs customs.
Sure. Yeah, I get that a lot. Like, you're charging $2,000 to do just Cerakote and throw a handguard on. I can do that at home. All right, cool. I tell everybody, if you can do it better than me, then go do it, please. I'm not going to lose sleep. Yeah, so
you're not forcing them to use you, are you?
No.
Yeah.
So what we do, so the first thing we do is we start with the barrel work, right? So we take the muzzle brake, and then here this. I got a couple of these that are kind of in progress right now.
Yeah.
So this one has like our new muzzle brake on there. But we cut the barrel, thread it, permanently attach it, cut the new dovetails, depending on the type of Marlin it was. So like this one's actually a 444. This isn't even a 4470. To your question before about what can you do. So caliber-wise, caliber-wise, we've made thumpers out of 450 Marlin, 444 450 yeah, that's always a fun one to shoot. And 38 357, like 44 mag, you name it, we've done it. Really, for the if they made a Marlin in that caliber, we've probably built one at this point.
Have you done a 22 yet?
Yes, sort of. 22s are their own animal.
Yeah.
Let's circle back to that.
Okay, we'll come back.
But so like these, if they've got like a barrel band gun, like your traditional Marlin 336s that don't have the handguard cap, you know, the way these handguards attach is through this handguard tenon right here, which normally has your handguard cap on it.
Right.
Well, it's kind of an interesting solution because it works well, but it's doing something that the guns were never designed to support. So when we get into the Henrys, for example, because the Henrys have a similar setup. So this here's a Henry. This one's a 4570. And the big difference with a Henry is it has the magazine tube. The tenon has a dovetail here with this big old magazine tube support that needs to go in. And when that goes in, this handguard tenon right here, you can see how, I don't know if you guys can see that. See how it just moves with my hand?
Yep.
It just slides around. The reason for that, whereas a Marlin is already, it's a much tighter fit and it's staked in. To install the magazine tube, you need to move this along with this at the same time, right? And it's a pain in the ass. It just is.
It's a precision fit.
Yeah, and these were never designed to support a handguard. So when you put a handguard on it like this, this is the Midwest handguard for the Henry. What can happen is it'll move around because there's no support here, right? So one of the great things I love about kind of the relationships that we've built, because it's a small circle, man, it really is. There's only so many guys doing lever gun stuff. So talking to Troy over at Midwest, I brought this up to him and I said, here's the problem we face with Henrys. And Troy, what was it, like 48 hours, I think? And you were like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I got a text from him. He's like, I fixed it. I was like, you fixed it? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, well, shit, cool. Because I was drilling into here, and putting a dimpling the barrel just like you would on an AR gas tube.
To do a lot more work.
Oh yeah, I had to do a ton more work on a Henry, because I would have to drill through here, tap it, dimple the barrel on the inside here, and then set screw it with then red Loctite. Then I had to drill through the tube right here, so I could access this. Like it was a pain in the ass. And Troy came up with a. Go ahead, Troy.
Hang on a second. Yeah, the first guns we did when we came out with the Henry handguard, the guns, I don't know what it was, but they were a lot tighter back then. And if you Loctited those tenons in, they seemed to hold fine. Because we made those a long time. We'd get them now and then where people would complain about them, but we would have them either stake them or stake and Loctite or rock set them in there.
Yeah.
But as things, you know how things go, as things get more advanced and we kind of, I don't know what you say, they evolve into better things. And talking to you, we kind of realized, you know what, that is kind of a concern. Now that we're redoing the handguard, because we kind of took a break after talking to Steve as far as like Henry's came out with a side gate. So Steve told us one of the biggest things that we have people say about your handguard is it's too short. They want the longer length. So I was like, well, if we're going to do that, let's address the tenon thing right away you were talking about that you're putting all this work into. So we kind of addressed that at the same time. Sorry to cut into your time, Steve.
No. I wanted you to. So like, and yeah, so like this is a Henry handguard, the older style. Obviously we've modified it for this SBR. Mm-hmm. They're perfectly sized for SBRs, but this is what the Marlin length handguards were, right? And they did that back then because you could then access the bottom of the tube on the Henry. Let me see.
Yeah, they were tube loading back then.
Yeah, but once Henry came out with the side loading gate, we were like, fuck that noise. There's no good reason to be doing that. Like, you don't need to drop things in from the bottom of the tube. If you really want to load it that way, you still can. You pull out the tube and then drop the rounds in. It doesn't change anything. Or you just do it from the side like an adult. So,
so you just eliminate. So then you guys just eliminate the tube feed and just go to the side gate.
So we didn't. It doesn't eliminate it entirely. You can still load it from the front. You can pull the tube out of the front, right?
I gotcha.
Yeah, so like you could pull the tube out from the front. You just can't load it from the very bottom, which, I mean, you're leaving
I see. Yeah,
an inch or two of the tube in there anyways to do that. To me, it never made much sense.
Now, is that because of the handguard itself, or could you cut a hole down there and then still make it
in theory,
available?
you could cut a hole.
But would you want to? That's the thing.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Right.
Like, how many different ways do you need to load a rifle?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody crying like, oh, shit, I can only load my AR from the freaking ejection port. What? Like, come on. Load it from the magazine like a grown-up and you'll be fine.
I don't see the tube loading thing being around forever. I really personally think that Henry's doing that till the parts are used up, and then they're all going to be side gate loaded, and that's it.
Well, that's my hunch. Well, no, you're right, Troy. Like, they're only making the side loading gate models now. So
yeah, but like some of my guns still have the tube with the side gate.
Oh, you're talking about getting rid of the tube entirely. Oh, gotcha. I don't know.
Able to out the end, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, there's no point with it.
I mean, I'm not going to speak for Henry, but just from like where I sit, at a certain point, you're just basically making another Marlin. So I think they also need to do things that keep them different enough.
Is there a way
for their own brand? You know what I mean?
Is there a way to magazine feed it?
No.
I mean,
not a whole.
No, because you have to have a magazine like over here.
Yeah, what's wrong? What's wrong having a magazine up there?
You'd have to have a magazine over here, and then have a means to push it over here. Like they're not.
Somebody can figure it out.
That's the thing is.
Somebody can figure that out.
Probably.
I see a magazine coming soon.
Put a mag on the side, then.
What's that?
Do what?
Put a mag on the side like a stem.
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest to put it.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
I
think it could be done. Definitely. So talk about the other mods that you're doing.
Sure. So we do all that. Marlin, you can't really talk about Marlins without talking about some of the quality control issues over the years. And Marlins, I don't care if they were JM stamped, made in North Haven, Connecticut, or made in Italy and New York. They had some of the worst chambers I've ever seen on a firearm. Like, you can just look at them, and if you're watching this right now and you have one, take a look. Shine a light into your chamber, and you will see ridges all over the place.
Like it was hammered or something? Not machined?
No, it's just the tooling was used past its life cycle. So we've actually had people comment on some of our posts that were former Remington employees and said that, we had to push our tooling past its life cycle limits. And we wanted to do better, but just the corporate culture, like, they went out of business. Like, they went out of business for a reason.
Squeezing that lemon for all it was worth.
Yeah, so we make sure that your chamber is smooth. The other thing we do is we cut a feed ramp into the top of it, which is kind of interesting because we only do that on Marlins.
Show that.
The reason, I don't think I can. I don't have a barrel taken off here right now. No, I don't. But so you've got a slight ramp on the bottom of the chamber on a Marlin, and then the top there's no ramp. So what we do is we polish that down on the bottom, clean that up, clean up the chamber, and then at the top we put a slight chamfer on there as well, because you got to remember when these bullets feed, they're going back and then up like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do
So-
this. This might help.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about it is I'm not that smart. I didn't create that idea. I stole that from Henry. Your Henry factory rifle has a feed ramp cut into the top of the chamber for that very reason. Every one of their guns has it. So Henry made some interesting modifications with their adaptation of the Marlin action. So that's one of the things that we'll do. We tune the loading gates. So the Marlin loading gates are notoriously hard. Not only that, but they never deburred things. So when they would put the and there goes the bolt. So when they would put the trigger plate on, the guns would be manufactured like this together, and they would round together, and that's great, and it leaves a nice looking line until you take this off, and now this is razor sharp. I've cut myself on these so many times. So if you're gonna like mess with the inside of your Marlin, be careful because you will probably cut yourself. So we take all that down. The inside, we just deburr everything because there's just tool marks all over the place. We chamfer the end of the magazine tube. Like we do all sorts of stuff.
Are you doing anything to the action?
Yeah, so we do a full action job. The trigger, we replace the triggers with Wild West guns. Makes a beautiful trigger.
Ooh, Wild West guns.
And so, yeah, Wild West guns, who are also fantastic lever gunsmiths. So let's see if you can see this here. So there's a thing called Marlin flop. Can you see that? You see the trigger?
Mm-hmm.
So see how it just drops like that?
Yeah.
There's no spring tension or anything on it. And it's a very similar sear setup to like a 1911. Now, this is a Wild West Guns trigger.
Go over to, yeah, there you go.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
So this is a much, much nicer trigger. And so what we do is we use those, we install those, and then we do a trigger job on it, and generally you end up getting a 3.5. I like to keep them around 3.5 pounds. So you get a really nice break on the trigger. So we do that. Lever. The lever is one of the most important parts of this style of rifle, because there's everything interacts off the lever. Everything. So what we'll do is we replace the levers with a big loop lever. We chamfer the big loop. We use the Wild West Guns design for the lever.
Pull that lever up here. Let's see that lever. Gun porn, baby, gun porn.
Yeah. So this is an example of one. This is on a brand new Marlin 1895 SBL, one of the Ruger produced ones. So we use that, and then we fit the lever to the gun. And I guess that's the biggest thing I could say about what we do is that every part gets fitted to that gun because every part is different. And that sounds kind of silly on a mass-produced rifle. But the design of these guns, like, it might be 200 years old, but that doesn't change the fact that the machining process might be new, but they still need to be kind of fit together to work best. So we do that. We Cerakote everything. I like using Cerakote for corrosion resistance. The other thing we do is we use Cerakote Elite as much as we can, and we use it especially on the inside of the receiver and on the bolt. And the reason for that is it helps us. There we go. It's got some great lubricity properties to it. So we fit the bolt first, and then we will put it in here. There it goes. I didn't want to go in. Oh.
Got the right model?
Yeah, it's the. You got me. I was trying to put a Marlin bolt in a Henry.
Yeah.
All right, so like, just being able to not send this thing out into space, but they're so smooth, right?
Makes
That's
it
what you
easier to
want.
clean too. Keeps it cleaner.
It makes it easier to clean, and
keeps temperatures down.
predominantly we build guns that are designed to be worked, right? So I want you to be able to take this out hunting where you might have to go, you're crossing a swamp or you get rained on or whatever. I don't want you to have to worry about your gun rusting up while you're out there. And on a gun like this, that is a concern.
Yeah.
On this, it's really not so much. What else?
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, I think you've justified the price already.
Sorry.
No doubt. I mean, that's quite a bit. I don't want you to give away any of your trade secrets or anything like that. But what do you think it is that really sets your designs apart from? Like you said, there's not a lot of people doing this, but there's some out there that are doing this.
Oh yeah, I saw a gun the other day, and I had to look at it real close because I swore that it was one of mine, and it was not. So I guess I got to do a little bit better branding, since people are just straight up copying what we do. But
you might need to patent it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like patenting the battle-worn American flag Cerakote camo. Like, you can't. It's like the We the People shotgun that we did that went crazy viral years ago. It was the Remington TAC 14. There's only so much you can do. So part of that is now I manufacture my own muzzle brakes and stuff like that. But so part of what I think has happened is I had an interesting conversation with one of the guys from Henry yesterday, and we were talking about demographic shifts. And he brought up something I never really considered, which is like the effect of like the global war on terror on the gun buying public in regards to lever guns. And I'm like, well, I'm in that demographic. Like, I was in Afghanistan. Like, what does that have to do with me? So I was there in like 2010, and I'm 36 now, and I've got a more established life than I did. And I remember watching the gun industry and the gun community as a whole change, right? Because for a period of time in like the mid 2000s or the mid teens, you remember everything was very serious. Like, no one was allowed to have fun.
Yeah.
Everything was serious. Like, why would you do this? This is, I only want a work gun. Okay. And I think a lot of that kind of had to do with, we were on this perpetual cycle of deployments and stuff like that, where a lot of people who were getting into guns were veterans who were like, hey, I want something that I can bet my life on, and I'm going to focus only on that. Yeah.
Well, the different environment that they were taking their weapons into too, with the sand, in the sandbox, and the effects that it was having on there, they were wanting something that was going to be.
Yeah. And I mean, it was just a different perspective. And now things like that have toned down, and we've gotten older and grown up a little bit. I won't say grown more mature, but we're also at different stages of our lives where like it brought different things into the forefront, like nods. Right now, nods aren't just like only a handful of people have them. They're much more common, and people hunt with them. They go out and do whatever with them. I know people that walk their dogs with quads because they can.
Because of the publicity that the war was getting, and the media was covering it more, and you were seeing it on the news, and all the civilians were seeing what the military was using. It was like, oh, I want that. I gotta have that.
I mean, people have lightened up too. So I think what's happened by
have
default
they
is
though?
That now
have they really lightened up?
No.
Well, so like there was Chris Costa. We built a gun for Chris Costa, right? And that kind of helped put us on the map. And one day he brought it with him to classes because he likes to do that, and he was shooting it from inside a car. I cannot fathom shooting this gun from inside a car, but he did, and people just went apeshit on him, and they're like, what are you doing? That'll get people killed. Like, why wouldn't you use an AR? And he's like, guys, am I not allowed to have fun? Like, I wanted to do it. It's my gun. I'll do what the fuck I want. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it would be fun.
And he did it, and nobody got killed. No,
Well, they were like, you'll get killed in a gunfight. I'm like, listen, I don't know how many you've been in gunfights. Like, I'm not too worried about shooting out windows with a 45-70 at the moment.
I don't know
Like,
how many people been up against Chris Costa either. You're not going to win in a gunfight against Chris Costa.
Yeah, probably not. But like, that was just one case where people just take everything so serious.
Oh yeah, everybody's a keyboard commando these days, and because you're not face to face with people, and you can confront them virtually in a way, in a safe. He can't hurt me from here. People get balls. They grow a set of balls.
And that's why I'm banned from interacting with people on forums.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
And social media.
But yes, so I think that people have kind of lightened up, though. Like, if you look at, like, you could even give credit to some of the meme pages. Like, the gun industry, there are some people that take themselves real serious, but by and large, it's lightened up a little bit. And people, I think in doing that, it's made people a little more open to try things that they otherwise wouldn't. Yeah.
Well, I just think
like
it's
you
really
said,
cool
the AK stuff.
because this has been in my safe for I don't know how many years. I've not given it a second thought. And then when Pete showed me what you guys are doing with them, what's the first thing I did? I went and I pulled this sucker out of the safe, and I started, giving it attention again. And, taking it out and shooting it and, just kind of picturing. And I probably won't do anything with this one just because, it's, it's my dad's. And I don't think you do anything with Winchesters. Can you do Winchesters?
I can and I don't.
Okay.
So I stick to the Marlin pattern, which is Marlin rifles and Henry rifles. That's just what I do. I don't work on the who is it, like Chiappa or Rossi?
Rossi, you don't do.
Yeah.
But does your
it's
Troy
nothing against them? I just don't.
Troy, does your handguards work on those?
We haven't got into the Winchester 94s yet. We've gotten requests for them. I just haven't had time. I don't know if I'm gonna. I know our sight system wouldn't work because they're top eject, so that causes a whole nother set of problems. So, and I mean, it's not a gun. There's a lot of them out there, but it's not like a gun that's being made anymore. Winchester doesn't make them anymore.
Yeah, they're not.
You know what I'm saying?
They're not being made anymore. That's true.
Yeah,
and guys that have them, regular Winchester 94s, the value of them has went so high up. I wouldn't even mess with a new one or an old one, I should say. I would just leave it the way it is. And if you're gonna go modern, go with a Henry or go with a new Marlin.
Hit your pawn shop and go find one of those.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to my local pawn shops here, and I'm going to see what they've got going on. But the prices I've noticed on labor guns have gone up already. They've already started to go up.
And I have a question for Steve. Why do you think the JW guns are so crazy right now? Because you'd be lucky to find a JW mark gun under $2,000.
Sure. So JM is a
or JM. Yeah. Sorry.
You're good, man. Let me see.
Tell our listeners, explain what you're talking about.
Those are the Connecticut guns, right?
Correct. Yeah, I'm looking to see if one of these is one of them, and this one's not. No. So, let me see if you can see this here. Can you see this mark right here? This one.
Let me try a different view here.
Well, either way, so this one's a Remington mark.
Okay.
But JM was the inspection stamp that was used at the North Haven, Connecticut Marlin factory. So essentially, when people say they have a JM gun, what that means is it was built in North Haven, Connecticut, vice a gun like this, which was built in the Ilion, New York. So that's how they, under Remington. So that's how you differentiate between a original Marlin from North Haven, Connecticut versus a Remington-made Marlin. And now we have the Ruger-made Marlins. So there's like 3 different Marlins.
But you can differentiate them from that mark. That's what you're saying. That's good to know.
Yeah, and so what Ruger did is Ruger. I mean, there's a lot of ways to tell the Ruger ones, but they engraved Marlin, Myadin, I think. Someone can correct me on that. Myadin, North Carolina. They put that right over here. They don't have the inspection stamp, but yeah. So
The guns, if I can jump here,
Yeah.
please,
the J they had a much better attention to detail. They were deburred. They had button rifle barrels. They shot like a house of fire. They were normal guns that could tell there was some attention to detail. When they went Remington, I mean, those guns we saw front sights were crooked on them.
yeah,
So you can attest to that, Steve. There was no deburring. You actually had to pay in their custom shop to have the gun deburred. They were sharp. The levers were sharp. You cut yourself on them. I don't think the barrels were the same quality. I don't know. I mean, there was definitely a corporate attitude when Remington took over Marlin. It went down.
Yes.
Obviously, they went out of business because of that. Now, from what I understand, I was talking to Steve about this and kind of doing some research. I think the Ruger guns now, don't they have a hammer forged barrel?
they
Or no?
do. They are cold hammer forged barrels, which is
And
pretty
they've
cool.
got a spiral flute bolt, which
Yep.
is cool.
Yes.
There's a lot more attention to detail on the Ruger guns. They're basically at the same quality as the Connecticut guns, in my opinion. Now, if not even a little bit better.
Yeah,
But yeah, come full circle.
and to Troy's point, I would say that the Ruger guns, so far from what I've seen, and I've seen a handful of them, are nicer than most of the JM guns I've seen. Now, that said, you have to remember the numbers are vastly different. I want to say there were like 6,336 pattern rifles made before Remington took over. That's a lot of fucking guns, right? So, being where I am here in Connecticut, we get some interesting guns that come through the shop. I'm co-located with another gun store, and they're like a retail gun store where I just do smithing. And there's some neat stuff that comes in. We've had some stuff come in with like Marlin property tags on it, and we have a bunch of customers that come in there that are former Marlin employees, and they. Let me tell you, they always have the nicest of the Marlins. They're like, we're not stupid. We pulled the good stuff off the line for us.
Right,
I was like,
yeah.
I would too.
Why wouldn't they?
So-
Definitely. Let's do this now. Let's get to listener questions. I want to do that. And I made a post on Instagram and my Facebook, and I think you shared it on yours, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and I got a few too.
Okay, so let's field some questions, and I'll start off on Instagram here. And are we awarding prizes or anything? You guys got swag or anything you want to give away to our participants here? I think we talked about it. Steve, you got something?
Yeah, I got some of the Thumper bench mats that we can do that along with some swag, some stickers and patches and stuff.
Oh, very cool. Hold that
Got
mat
baby
up again.
I've got like 3 of these here.
Hold that mat up again.
What about you? Got
What's that?
any baby hands to give away?
I will include the baby hands. Yes.
What
I
are
don't even
baby
have one of those
hands?
in here. Oh, the baby hands?
What are baby hands?
Oh.
Hold on, you're gonna have to go to somebody else for a second. I'll grab
Okay. Okay. Troy,
tiny hands.
You got anything you
Tiny
want to?
hands.
You got any swag or anything you want to give away from Midwest?
Yeah, we can do that. We got some hats, and we can do some hats and sticker packages for people.
Okay.
Just gotta somehow tell me and let me know where to send them. That's fine.
Yeah, so what they do is they have to listen to win. So I don't contact winners. So what we do is when we get done with our listener questions, we just go through there and we randomly pick, or if there's a question that stood out you liked, we can award them a prize kind of thing.
Sounds good.
There we go.
And then
Tiny
they
hands.
email me with their contact info, and then I forward it to you.
Okay, excellent.
Show your hands again? What is this?
The tiny hand.
What is that all about?
It's
Okay.
I don't know, man.
That's freaky.
Yeah.
That's so freaky.
Exactly.
Pete, you want to do anything?
Yeah, I got some. We can give box of ammo each of the 4570.
Sweet. You want to give away a couple of those?
Yeah, we. I don't know, like the 400 and the 300. We can do that.
Okay.
I guess we can maybe let the customer pick.
What caliber they want? Okay.
What bullet grain, what bullet weight they want.
Okay.
Or I guess if they'd rather have something else instead, that's fine.
Okay.
So we'll do a couple boxes of ammo.
There you go. That'll work. We'll do that. All right, let's go to the questions now. Mustang Perry, what are the biggest challenges when building one of these amazing rifles?
Honestly, it's because I never know what's going to happen when I open up one of these guns.
What happened to your volume?
Oh, can you hear me?
There it goes. Yeah, it would cut out for a second. Okay.
It's the what's the word? I never know what's going to happen when I open up one of these guns.
Like a box of chocolates? You never know what you're going to get?
No, yeah, like it really is. Like, I had one gun where I was just testing the loading gate before I took it apart, and there was such a bad burr on the inside that it was so sharp that it cut off the front of my nail and the front of my fingertip. Like, wasn't planning on that day. I just never know. There was a period of time about a year and a half ago where I was getting a lot of late production Remington-made Marlin 1895s, and half those guns that came into my shop were broken before, like as soon as they left the factory. They didn't work. So I would have to fix the gun before I could even get into the conversion work. So these guns are such a mixed bag. You never know. Like this one, I just picked up this one the other day, and it's probably the nicest 30-30 that I've ever seen, and it's a Remington gun. Like it's nicer than JM guns. Like there's no ridges, no machine marks. Like I think that's probably the biggest thing is they're just so unpredictable.
Yeah, the quality control is just not consistent.
Yeah.
Got it.
Inconsistent. There's the word.
Yep.
Let's see. Brett Badal, talk about tuning a lever. Any drop-in parts to improve trigger and cycling of the lever? How much for up is required? I don't know what he's saying. Personally, a huge fan of levers and revolver cartridges, in particular the 357/38. So we talked about the trigger. There's a trigger that's out there. Any other drop-in parts?
So I'm always hesitant with drop-in parts because there's short of like the takedown screws, there's really no such thing as drop-in parts. I get people that have like this gun came back because it was a different gun that came in because the customer tried to put a Marlin lever, an OEM Marlin big loop lever into his older 336 and it wouldn't work and he couldn't figure out why, and then it just jammed everything up. So it should have dropped right in and worked, but it didn't, and I had to tune the whole thing. So I mean, the Wild West Guns trigger I think is about the best upgrade that you can make to any lever gun without real modification, and it's fairly simple to do. The Midwest Industries Handguard, if you want to put a handguard on, I mean, it's really the only one I use. There's one of the great things about it is, like Troy was saying, like it lets you do things that you couldn't do before. Like putting the hand stop here, I use Slate Black Industries hand stops and rail covers on my guns. So every Mad Pig gun built gets this. Being able to just hold the rifle and use a hand stop, like it changes things. Whereas before you're like, white knuckling the thing, like holding it on, like there's forearm strain. Here it's simple. So I think stuff like that are good stuff. The chisel stock, it balances the rifles nicely too. If you're looking for that, I mean, it's definitely a look that's not for everybody.
Let's talk about the stock options because we didn't really talk about the different stock, and I'm seeing a couple of different options there that you've got there. Is that both from the same company or those different companies?
So this is the Chisel Machine stock. Here, let me move the camera.
Sure.
How's that?
Yeah.
So you got the Chisel Machine stock, and these are OEM stocks. I have one somewhere, but not right over here. Form rifle stocks out of the UK make absolutely gorgeous walnut and laminate furniture that has an adjustable cheek piece. The downside to that is the volatility of the exchange rate. So they're very expensive just to begin with. And then, depending on when you buy it, you might end up paying out the ass because of the exchange rate of the dollar versus the British pound. So,
yeah. What's the one you got on the bottom down there?
This one?
Yeah.
So this is an SBR that we're working on. Let's see. So this is based off a Henry and 357, and this is the SBR style that we pioneered here. And so we tuck the barrel in at 11 inches. We use a Silencer Co. Osprey. You can use a Osprey 9 or Osprey 45. It doesn't matter. The 45 is a little bit longer. Obviously, a bigger bore cap on there, bore opening. We use the Midwest Handguard that we relieve so that you can fit that on here. Some people complain that, well, now you can't take off the suppressor without removing the handguard. Okay. I don't care. Like that's part of it. That's part of it. Like
part of doing business.
Yeah, like that's just how we do it. If you want to do a different type of suppressor or have it so that you can remove it, we can do that too.
Get a round one or something.
Yeah, we've done them with a like a tri-lug, so that you can easily like take them on and off. Obviously not an Osprey like this, but
more so I was interested in that stock that you got there.
So this is the chisel machine stock. They don't currently make a straight grip. So when we talk about pistol grips and straight grips, this is a straight grip, right? Where the lever's right here and all that. These are all pistol grip. Now, Chisel does not yet make a straight grip, so this customer didn't want to wait. So I modified this.
So you made it a straight
aluminum. Yeah, it was this. And that was one of those things I was like, this won't be so bad, and I should have used a bill. That was a lot of handwork. But yeah, so that's what this is. So this is it's this same stock.
Oh, okay.
So it'll have the cheek piece on here. So it has an adjustable cheek riser.
Yeah.
It also has the butt pad can be moved vertically up and down.
So if I'm
that's all.
If I'm modernizing this and I'm tacking it out, I'm bushing it out, I'm gonna want a cool butt stock, kind of like that too. Now, are there people making adjustable, like an AR style butt stock for these?
I hope not. Yeah. So Mossberg makes their 464. Nobody makes an adjustable one for the Marlins or Henrys that I know of. As much as people like to call me Bubba, even I have limits.
I have no limits. I have no shame. Yeah.
Like I told Troy when we first started working together, I was like, I try to balance between the high end of going above and beyond where people will want something, and then the Mossberg 464, especially the zombie model. So
And how long have they have they had theirs out, would you say?
Oh, Jesus, I don't know. What's funny is the Mossberg factory is literally across the street from the old Marlin factory in North Haven, Connecticut. Which is right next to a school, which is wild. Yeah, I don't know. I have one because a customer brought it in years ago and then suddenly passed away with no family, so I have one in the shop. But
here's a question from Casey Loftus. He says, Pete turned me onto your rifles. You know Casey, right, Pete?
Oh yeah.
I think you probably heard about it.
He's one of my elite members.
Yeah, he was probably heard it on that episode we did.
Yep.
He says, do I have to send you the rifle, or can I order the package from you and do it myself?
You have to send me the rifle. So if you want to do it yourself, you're welcome to go and buy some of the products that are out there, like the Midwest Handguard. Like plenty of people put those on their own. The Midwest handguards are on a Marlin. It is easy to do. On a Henry, it's more challenging. I'm going to be doing some install videos for Troy on how to do those that they'll have on their website so that you can kind of follow along as I do it. I'll show you how to do it. But besides that, I mean, you know, putting the trigger in, if you have the skills, go for it.
Yeah, but you're
Like,
not
I've
going to
seen
send
plenty
them
of
the
people that do
stuff.
it.
You're not going to send them the part. They can order them separate on
no.
their own. And do
Yeah,
that.
no.
Gotcha,
I don't do any kind of retail sales.
Yeah, Casey, you got to realize that. Sure, I can send you some primers, some cases, and some bullets and stuff, but you know, is it going to be Defiant Munitions ammunition? No, it's not. Steve is a skilled gunsmith that has been doing this for a very long time, and it's not a Lego set.
Yeah.
So quit being cheap and send your shit to Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There you go.
Peak
I like
solution
that.
is stop being poor. The one thing I'll say is that when it comes to these guns, like I was saying, they're very inconsistent, right? I never know whether a gun is going to take me like 4 hours to do. I mean, and it's never 4 hours, it's more, or it's going to take me like 20 hours because some weird fucking problem is going to pop up that I've not yet seen or whatever. Like it's one of those things. They're just so inconsistent. You never know. So when you do build your own guns, it's no different than building an AR in a sense. Like if you get that gas tube or a gas block misaligned, you're going to be chasing for the answer, right? Or if you need to go out and buy a special tool to do something, like I make a lot of my own tools. Like I made a tool specifically to remove the front handguard tenon on a Henry so that I don't mar it. Like it depends how much time you want to invest in something.
Yeah. I mean, Troy, Steve, me. I mean, we have dedicated our life to doing this. So it comes with great skill to be able to produce things like this, and things just don't happen overnight. I know, like a lot of people think, like I snap my hands and I have thousands of rounds of ammo, or Troy stuff. Like people don't really understand the actual craftsmanship that goes into this stuff, and it just doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
But that said, I mean, again, if you want to put a handguard on, like you want to go buy a Midwest Marlin handguard or Henry handguard and put it on, go for it, right?
Do it.
That's something that
absolutely.
I think is buy that stuff up. The more stuff out there, the better for everybody.
Yeah.
Because what I do seem to get sometimes is, and I get more and more these days, is I get a gun that comes in and it already kind of looks like a thumper, but because they put a handguard on it or they put an excess rail on the top, they might have put a stock on, but they're like, yeah, I want you to like finish it. I'm like, well, okay. You could have just saved yourself some trouble. I would have done it all, but that's fine too.
So bottom line is send your gun to him and get it done. All right, next question. We got several. This Nathan Shepard, Lee, Anthony, Doc Dow. Basically, what's your favorite brand of lever action gun, and what's your favorite caliber? What's your preferred caliber?
So for me, I think I won't say that I have a favorite brand. Henrys and Marlins, they both. I like working on Marlins more.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
What about a model? A certain model number?
1895s. I've never been a huge fan of the 3030. Just like, I don't know. I have AKs that can shoot like that kind of round. Like I'm good with that. I prefer the 4570. I like it. It's fun. Unless I'm testing my muzzle brakes, in which case it's just an utterly miserable day. My absolute favorites, though, are the Henry SBRs or the Marlin 1894s in 38-357, because when you shoot those things suppressed, I mean, it's just stupid. It's so much fun.
Smooth,
they're
quiet.
like Hollywood quiet.
Yeah,
smooth, quiet. You get 6 to 8 rounds depending on how many are in there. it's just a lot of fun. So like 158 grain 38s, they're subsonic. They're awesome. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
What about you, Troy?
As far as brand goes, I've got more Marlins than I do Henrys as far as the ones I use. The X models now, I'm putting a little more trigger time in with them, and I think they're cool. I like them. I'm not going to really pick a favorite. Caliber wise, I would say 45-70. I just, for the simple fact is I haven't played around with pistol calibers as much as I have the 45-70 stuff. I'm actually kind of looking forward to getting a 30-30 Henry. I talked to Pete about that, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Just to put some trigger, play around with it, and put a suppressor on it and actually bring it out a little bit and see what it's about, because it'd be a great gun in the Midwest here for deer hunting. I mean, you really don't need much more than 30 to knock a whitetail down. And if you got a gun that's really tricked out with a suppressor on and everything, and have Steve do a job on it and chop it to 16.1, it'd be a pretty rowdy little girl, you know? So I don't know. I kind of like it. I just have more experience with the 45-70 guns. So,
and for that type gun and the utility, you know, like you're saying, for a brush gun, that caliber, it's going to take down pretty much anything you need to take down.
Yeah, in North America, I don't think anything will stand up to 45-70. I think it could take anything down. Yeah. So, as long as you get it with. So,
let's see. Let's go to Mad Pig Customs, where you did the post.
Sure.
And let's pick a question from there. Let's see. Joseph Erlip. Just curious, what color and code Cerakote, assuming that's what it is on the receiver and barrel? Looks incredible. I guess that's the picture that I posted.
Oh, that's I think that's the Midwest Industries gun. I think that's Troy's gun. That one we did Patriot Brown.
Yeah, that's it. That's my personal gun that I just had done from Steve.
Yeah, I think we did that one in Patriot Brown. That came out really nice.
Yeah, that I remember seeing it. That thing's awesome.
Yeah, I was kind of hesitant at first. Troy will tell you. I was like, I don't know about Brown. Like, he's like, no, it'll be good. I was like, all right, we'll try it. If it sucks, I'll tell you.
It's your gun, bud.
It's good looking, definitely.
And it came out real nice.
Yeah, indeed.
I just have them do it again in a different color. What's the worst that can happen, right?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
So this is from Pete's post that he did at Defiant Munitions. It says, will the Midwest extended sight rail fit a Henry X Series 30-30?
Those are basically the next product in development. So I have a Henry X coming from Henry in 30-30, and I have all the data I think I need for testing. We're going to go out and test it. If it works the way we think it's going to, we'll go into we'll get it in the queue and go into production on it. But all the X-Mod, all the sight systems, we put them through a whole bunch of testing, like I was talking about earlier, to make sure that they work with all the different velocities of ammunition. So we take each model and couple calibers and break them down and do a lot of testing on it, so we don't have any issues. So, but that's next.
Okay. Runaway Deer. When the heck we gonna see CSBLs? What's that?
So a CSBL is a Marlin 1894. Yeah, call Ruger, call Marlin and ask him. I can say this. I know they are working on them, and that's the extent that I'm going to comment on it. They are working on them. I'll go one step further. Ruger is taking the time to do things right, and I respect the hell out of him for that. Making sure that the guns that are going out, they paid attention to what happened with Remington, and they don't want to make those same mistakes. So things might be a little slower going than any of us, myself included, would like. but I think we're going to see a much better product in the end. And so far, we definitely are seeing a much better product.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
But 1894s, they're working on them. When they're going to come out, I couldn't tell you.
We've got a couple of questions here. AKM Archer, and let's see, there was another one for that 54. Somebody, I can't find it right now. Here it is. Arms of Acadia. When are we getting a 54R lever gun? That would be ridiculous and awesome. What are your thoughts on modernized lever guns?
I mean, they made one. What was it, the Remington? It was the...
Winchester 1895?
Yeah.
There's a 54R, 7.62 by 54R.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so Henry from 9 Hole Reviews is always on my ass. He's like, you should build a thumper out of one of those. I'm like, oh, God. People hate me enough already. You want me to do that? Like,
You should call Henry to do the BLR with that detachable mag on the bottom. Do that one in a 54R.
Yeah. So it has a detachable magazine.
The
Henry
BLR.
Long Ranger.
Yep, because that's basically a version of the old Browning BLR.
Yeah. And those are cool guns, man. They are like they've been doing a big push on those because they just did what was it? I think they released one in 5.56, and it comes with a factory threaded barrel. I mean, that's a cool camping gun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it looks like, because somebody was asking when is Winchester going to re-release the 1895. It looks like they've done it for 2022 in a 30-06.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. According to AKM Archer there. So,
Okay.
were there any more questions that you guys had on your pages or your posts that you wanted to fill? I think that's
you got
what
mine.
I'm looking for right now.
okay.
Yeah, you got mine.
Let's see.
Oh, so somebody asked about the 350 Legend. I actually get questions about that a lot. Like, so we don't do caliber conversions. Back when they were doing gunsmithing, Ranger Point Precision was doing caliber conversions for like short throw 10 millimeter rimmed cartridges, 9 millimeter. I don't know. That's the kind of thing that I think would be really cool for a company like Ruger to do. I'm not speaking for them. I'm not saying they're doing that because I have no idea. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
But I think I think Ruger has a lot of opportunity. And what I mean by that is they've got, if you look at the things they've done in the past few years, like say the 1022 line, you know, or the PC9, we got takedowns, right? Well, you can make takedown lever action rifles. Wild West Guns make some really nice takedowns. Lee Hadaway from the Arms Room in Colorado does incredibly gorgeous takedowns.
I believe Marlin and both of those companies make a takedown, I think, right?
No, they don't. No, they don't have factory takedown, and that's what I'm hoping to see.
I saw that on their website.
No. So, I mean, a number of people have made
maybe it's Winchester
takedown conversions. Yeah. So I think maybe Rossi came out with a takedown recently, or Chiappa, or one of them. But anyways, I think it'd be really cool to see takedowns from the Maiden factory. You know, I'd love to see that. And I have voiced that to the folks at Ruger. Like, hey, do this, please. I want to see it. They got enough stuff to worry about right now, but down the line, I'm hoping that they'll open the line up more the way that Ruger has done with some of their other product lines.
Very cool. All right. I think that does it for the questions. And the person who asked that about the 350 Legend was Bricken Cart.
Yeah, I get people
Instagram.
asking me when I'm going to do 350 Legend ammo all the time, and I'm like, I can't even do 30-30. Like, nothing's happening until I do 38, 357, 30-30. I'm not going anywhere else. I can't even do those.
funny is 350 Legends the only ammo I ever see at like Walmart.
Exactly.
The only ammo on the shelf.
I know. Same.
Might be a reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Doesn't seem
agree.
like there's a shortage of that.
No.
And then one more question here. BCM 350. He wants to know about what can they expect on turn time if they send you.
Sure.
Again.
So I quote 6 to 9 months on my website. So that is my quoted turnaround time. We've been working our asses off to try to get that brought down. So people, to talk briefly about that, people say, okay, well, how about like, I'll take a number and then you call me when I'm like, no, it don't work like that, because like I do guns in batches, right? So frankly, this gun may sit like this for like a month while I take the time building other guns to get to this one. And this is ready to go now where I can then just build it. Everybody has a different process when it comes to custom guns and gunsmiths. That's just mine. Again, I do this as a side gig, and it takes way more time than I should probably spend on it, and that's still not enough.
Somebody said
we do our best.
Somebody had a post on here that says Torag 77. Do you know who that is? It says
Torag.
It says Mad
Torag.
Pig Customs works at my local store, Delta Arsenal.
Okay.
They make great stuff. I have been a customer. Does it mean they have their stuff there, or are you actually working?
No.
there?
So
Branford.
So my old shop, I had a standalone shop that was in Branford, Connecticut.
I got you.
And then I ended up moving Delta Arsenal, which is a gun store and gun range here in Connecticut, it's this really cool old factory. It's this 4-story brick building. It's got towers and shit. It's cool.
I got you.
They've got 4 indoor ranges there. It's a pretty big thing. So I rent space from them to have my shop inside there.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, my shop is physically located inside
what he was
Delta
talking
Arsenal,
about.
but
Got you. Okay.
Okay.
I have my own FFL, all that stuff. So
cool. All right, let's pick some winners here for a giveaway. So let's do the Midwest Industries swag package first. Troy,
How many questions you got? How many questions were there?
How many questions were there? Oh, in total? What's on your mind? What do you?
yeah.
Well, get addresses from everybody, and we'll send everybody a hat and some swag.
For real? You want to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Why not? Let's do it.
All right, there you go. So everybody's question that we read, you win a Midwest Industries swag package. That's awesome. So just the questions that we read. And I know who you are, so don't fuck with me. TalkingLead@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. I'm getting inundated with emails here. Shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com, and I will forward those on to Troy, and he will hook you up with some sort of cool Midwest Industry swag. So I'm just not going to go through here and read all the names, but Facebook and Instagram, and if you did it on mine, or if you did it on Pete's, or if you did it on Steve's. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. That's cool. I'm going to send you my address, too.
Cool.
I'm going to sneak my address in there, too.
There you go.
Pete, what about you for the ammo?
What's that?
Pick a couple of...
Pick a winner. Well, it's not going to be Casey.
He won last time.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I don't know. Let's do this one off of me.
Sure. Pick one off your Instagram page if you want to.
I don't know who this is, but it doesn't really matter.
Just read their Instagram name.
Instagram name, not real name. It's GKK578.
Okay. GKK578. You have won a box of whatever they have in stock. Tell us your preference on ammo, and Pete will send you a box of. It could be 9mm or anything, right? 223.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give him a box of 338 Lapua mag or something.
No,
but,
no.
You know, is it, you know,
Be reasonable, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no problem. So
Okay.
Cool.
Or the no 30-30 because you don't have that, so it can't be 30-30. But the
yeah, right. And I don't know. Maybe Steve can pick one off of that. He knows never tried the ammo, and we can get him a box of 4570 ammo. I whatever, it doesn't matter.
okay. So Steven pick.
Maybe there's a customer he knows that hasn't tried my ammo yet. You know.
Sure. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah, Pete, we'll get offline and we'll figure that out. I can think of a few good candidates for that.
All right. Steve, how about for your swag pack that you got?
So
you got one or two? What do you got?
I think I got 3 right here.
Okay.
So we'll do BMC 350.
Okay.
He asked me about which brand model lever gun would I recommend, and he was the turnaround service guy. Also, to answer the first part of that question, really any Marlin model of the 1895, 336, or 1894, I can turn into some semblance of this thumper. So I can convert straight grip to pistol grip to straight grip, vice versa. The difference could just be in cost because of having to source different parts.
Okay.
But the best candidates I would say are the SBL series, the Dark series from Marlin, or the I really like the Guide Gun series, the Trappers, or the GBLs. And then the Henry, the X series, or any of the side loading gate model series.
Very good.
So those are the models I can start with, and that's all on my website too. I kind of articulate that on my website. So that one, and then
let's pick one from Facebook here. Let's reward a Facebook person.
oh, Facebook. Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
I didn't get any on Facebook. I don't think. I don't know if I
Go to my
forgot
Facebook.
to post.
Nathan
see here.
Shepard, John Resendez, E.J. Bogner, Lee Anthony, Brett Bedell.
Let me look here.
They all had pretty good questions. John Resendez, 4570 or 3030 for an all-around good bush gun or brush gun.
Yeah, sure.
I think 4570 probably.
For a brush gun, I'd say yeah. Because like if it's a brush gun, I don't know what's gonna pop out at me, so I'd rather have something that's bigger.
Yeah. A bit bigger. Like you said, the 3030. I mean, you can take your AK for that.
Yeah.
Depends what
Yeah.
you're hunting too. 4570 is
Also
hard.
Be rough on
That's
a bird, wouldn't it?
Yeah, gone.
Fantastic for shooting,
Yeah, awesome.
and then all right, so we got 2 more.
Here, I'll pick one from Facebook, and then you just stay on Instagram and pick the third one. So on
That works.
Facebook, let's go with John Resendez, Rezendes.
Okay.
John, email me, talkinglett@gmail.com. Tell me what you won, which episode, and all that. So it's you want a swag pack from Mad Pig Customs, and the cat's not available for sale.
Yeah, no, the cat is not available. That is, she stays.
All right, then our final winner here.
Yeah, Brent Badow. He asked about tuning the lever with drop-in parts and stuff like that.
Okay,
that was
Brett.
a great question.
Yeah,
That's a good question. Yeah.
very good
Cool.
listener there too, Brett Badow, a longtime listener, supporter of the show.
buddy.
Congratulations on the Mad Pig Customs swag pack win. Email me. You guys know you have to email me. I do not contact winners. That's part of it. If you don't listen to the show, you don't get
You
your
gotta put
prize.
the work in.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. That's how it works. And our listeners know that, and they're good about it. So appreciate everybody that sent your questions in. If you have other questions we didn't cover, maybe something that you wanted us to cover, shoot me an email, talkinglett@gmail.com. And if it's a question for Troy or Pete or Steve, I'll forward it on to them and make sure you get the proper answer for your question. But let's do that right now. So, Troy, if people want to get in touch with you or find out what's going on, latest and greatest with Midwest Industries, give your website and your socials and all that, and what new you got going on.
Instagram is Midwest Industries Inc., I believe. Website's MidwestIndustriesInc.com. Just contact us there. I don't usually at this point do my personal email too much. No offense.
Sure.
Turn them from the time I get up to the time I go to bed anyway. But somebody here will get a hold of you, and we'll make sure you get the answers you need.
Very good. And what's the latest and greatest coming out from Midwest Industries?
Can't really say what direction we're going in. We're trying to do some releases this year. We've got some other platforms besides levers we're working on.
AKs?
But we're going to continue. Yeah, there's some com block stuff coming out at the end of this year for next year.
All right.
But yeah, I really don't like divulging too much because we're still in the testing phase. So I don't want people blowing up and bugging the app out of us
They
all
will.
the time.
Yeah.
Done ones. I've learned my lesson with that. So
Well,
we always have stuff.
Midwest did just release the full-length handguards and extended sights for the Henry and Marlin. So those are out and available now.
Oh, nice.
So awesome.
So that is a fairly new release from them.
It's a game changer.
Beautiful. I love
If
that.
you're looking to put if you want to put like a laser or something out on your lever gun, which people will roast about that, and that's fine. But there is a purpose to it. This is the solution to that problem set.
There you go. Pete,
Yep.
Defiant Munitions. Since last time you were on, what new and exciting going on with you guys?
Man, we're just trying to crank out as much ammo. We just dropped range ammo again in 9 and 223. We're doing it in 223 ammo cans now. So my idea was we got ammo cans. They're not like regular ammo cans, or these like black heavy duty plastic ammo cans. So we're doing them in 223. We're doing them in 240 round cans and 510 round cans. Do the math on it, and you'll figure out why we did those oddball numbers. And then, we do it in 9mm too. So we're taking the packaging out, we're taking the tray out. So I'm trying to bring range ammo to market as cheaply as possible and still holding that Defiant quality. And we're working on 458 SOCOM, 4570, as much as we can. But you guys can check me out at defiantmunitions.com. Let's see.
On the Instagrams at Defiant Munitions.
Yep. I'm on Insta, all that. I got kicked off of one of them. What's that one called?
Facebook?
No, I got kicked off of TikTok forever, so I'm foreverly banned in TikTok.
You were so proud of TikTok too.
I know.
I started a TikTok.
Yeah, until I put my 14-year-old son shooting a full auto AK on it, and they were like, "Yeah." So yeah,
communist bastards.
Yeah, those bastards.
And then you can always check out Pete here on the Talking Lead podcast. We have him on quite frequently, especially on the AK Corner. Which make sure you guys go back and listen to the last one, because we are giving away that Primary Arms red dot. Go listen to the end of that episode to find out the instructions on how to win that $350 or so red dot from Primary Arms. Thanks to Ken Ross. Ken Ross is the boss for putting that up. And then Steven, talk about Mad Pig Customs. Give all your sites and everything that's going on with you guys, and if you've got some future projects coming up.
So we're at Mad Pig Customs on Instagram, Facebook, we're Mad Pig Customs, and my website is www.madpigcustoms.com. Stuff coming up is, I don't want to say I'm a one-trick pony, but I'm just trying to get as much work done as we can. So
your new company, your growing company. I only see more innovation coming from you guys as you get more into it. You get more hands-on on these. There's going to be ideas pop as you and Troy, sit and talk and drink the whiskey. The next best answer comes at the next bottle of the empty bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, right.
That's what my old professor used to say.
I think the next thing you're going to see is I'm trying to do more video content.
Okay.
So
YouTube?
Yeah. I do actually, that's right. I have a YouTube channel now.
There you go. Talk about that.
So I have a YouTube channel. There's like 3 videos. There's not a whole lot on there, but I'm going to try to continue to do some little like tricks and tips on like, hey, here's some little things that'll make your life easier. Yeah. If you're working on your own lever gun or just talking about stuff.
Well, send me one and I'll make some videos for you.
But I just subscribed to it. I didn't know you did, Steve,
to the YouTube?
so I am now a subscriber.
Yeah, so
that makes 6.
Listeners, go show our guests the support and go subscribe to their YouTubes, go subscribe to their social medias, visit their websites, and the best thing you do is support them, is buy their products. And this is something that all of you need and can use. So do it. Go visit their sites, and then of course our sponsors that make this show possible: Mission First Tactical. Go to missionfirsttactical.com. Use the code LEADHEAD. You're going to get 20% off anything at Mission First Tactical. As you can see there, they do a lot of accessories for black rifles, for AR-15s, AR-10s. They do magazines, 30-round magazines, and you can get custom logos or engravings put on your magazines. They do holsters. You can get custom holsters done with cool stuff, all kinds of different calibers of guns there. And of course our famous Pete dump trays that they do. So for you gunsmithers, this will be great for you, Troy and Steven. I know Pete's got some of these also. When you're working on your guns, these make good little parts trays for when you're cleaning your guns or working on it, so you don't lose your stuff, and you can get custom crap printed on there too. I say crap, anything, basically anything they can print on these things.
Awesome.
So
very cool.
Go check out Mission First Tactical. Use that code LEADHEAD, get 20% off anything there.
Jeez.
There went my lever gun, just knocked my power off. Kel-Tec Weapons, you go to Kel-Tec and use the code LEADHEAD there in their pro shop. You're going to get 15% off anything at Kel-Tec, their hats, their shirts, not their guns. You can't get discounts on their firearms. They've got cool flashlights there that you can get to. So go check out Kel-Tec Weapons. Chad was on an episode we had a while back. They have been providing some firearms to Ukraine, to the citizens there. They're Sub 2000s. Are you guys familiar with the Kel-Tec Sub 2000? It's one of my favorite pack guns. They sent a big shipment over there. We had Chad on to talk about that. We had Butch Whiting with Cryptech. They've been doing some things too. And we had Kevin Holland, who works for Cryptech. And Kevin Holland is a former Navy SEAL and Delta Force. He's the only American to serve on both of those special forces teams. We had Kevin on that episode, so go back, check that episode out. Really interesting to hear Kevin talk about some civilian extractions that they were doing over there in Ukraine. Pretty cool stuff there. And then Occam Defense Solutions, our good buddy Brian over at Occam. Go show them some love. Don't have a discount code for them at the moment, but he from time to time hooks you guys up. 1776 United, you get our awesome Talking Lead official T-shirts, patches, Leadhead Brigade patches. We got patches with that logo on there. You go to 1776 United, use the code Talking Lead. You're going to get 20% off there. And then, of course, at Pete's, Defiant Munitions, you use the code LEADHEAD, all caps, and you want to get some of that awesome ammo we've been talking about, you get 10% off at Defiant Munitions. Use the code LEADHEAD, all caps, to get a discount there. And for all your gun cleaning needs, hit up seal1.com and use the code LEADHEAD to get a big fat 25% off Seal 1 Clean Lube Protect. Great for corrosion resistance and protection for your firearms also. Check out Seal 1. All kinds of other discount codes we've got with some of our friends of the show and partners. Listen to other shows to get those. I know you guys have got to go, but I really appreciate you taking the time to be on, and I look forward to having you on future episodes, especially you, Troy. I would love to get you on the AK Corner, and let's talk about some things that you guys have been doing for the AK market. We'd love to do that with you. Very cool.
Hey, if you don't mind, I got one more thing because Jared will decapitate me if I do not mention it.
Yeah.
The last 2 times I've been on, I forgot to mention this, and he is super pissed, and I don't think I'm going to get away with it a third time.
Let's do it.
I'm trying to pull the dates real quick, but here we go. So in South Dakota, if anybody that listens wants to come train with me, we do a lot of training every year. We're doing July 15th and the 17th with Haley Strategic Partners, their Clash D5, and then we're doing July 12th and 14th. We're doing the Carbine D5. Dude, you guys come. Yeah, it's they're awesome classes. I mean, it's Haley Strategic Partner, for crying out loud. If you don't know who these guys are, then I don't know what to tell you. But
we've had them on the show. Our listeners are familiar with them. Of course, Jared Seagraves.
Yep, that's who I'm talking about. Jared's starting to get a little pushy. I was like, I ain't going to get away with this a third time. So,
well, you need to tell him he needs to come back on the show and talk about it himself, sucker.
Yeah. I mean, hey, and you know what? If you want to come train for 6 days straight, let's do both classes back to back, the 12th through the 17th.
We would don't mind having a house guest for 6.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, lead heads. That does it for another episode of the Talking Lead Podcast. Go and show everybody the love that they deserve. And until the next episode, as always, keep your loved ones close
and your firearms closer.
And your firearms closer.